laughter that we used to know when the movies were young, so long, long ago. Bring back the great clowns so sad, so absurd, as they made millions laugh, never saying a word. Bring back the proud cop, the pie in the face, the villain who's vanquished in fiendish disgrace. The chill of September has come all too soon. Through yesterday's magic, once more make it June. Bring back the laughter that we used to know in the dark at the Bijou so long, long ago. Bring back the flappers so useless and yet with a sweet silent beauty we can never forget. Back the wild chase that wrecked a whole town, the bashful hick hero with pants falling down. The chill of September has come all too soon. Through yesterday's magic, once more make it June.
A steam-driven elevated train puffs above New York's Cooper Union Square. The date is 1895, only a few months after the birth of the motion picture itself. What a sunlit, uncomplicated world was the horse-drawn world of the gay 90s. It lives again in these remnants of film. Caught and preserved some forgotten cameraman, an Easter parade that began before the century's turn marches on still in stately array down yesterday's Fifth Avenue. Each era has its symbol. In America, the symbol of the 90s was Lillian Russell, a music hall singer whose full-blown beauty became a legend. Bedecked with jewels, presents perhaps from Diamond Jim, Lillian Russell's elegance perfectly reflected the elegance of her age. In 1895, workers bustled from the Lumiere factory to immortality in the first movie made in France. Soon after, the Lumiere's pioneer camera caught French soldiers cavorting in camp, a full generation before World War I. In 1898, the Rough Riders returned in triumph from the Spanish-American War. Viewers with sharp eyes may notice Lieutenant Colonel Theodore Roosevelt himself at the right. Within 3 years, Vigorous Teddy, that damned cowboy, as party boss Mark Hanna called him, was President of the United States. A new age dawned all but unnoticed in 1903, when the Wright brothers rose from Kitty Hawk, North Carolina, in man's first powered flight. The Wright brothers had many imitators. These might be called the Wrong brothers. As Winston Churchill recalled, the old era in its sunset was fair to see. This is Broadway in 1903. Traffic jams were undreamed of, but on the side streets, the first Nickelodeon movie theaters were already bringing inexpensive entertainment to all. On their screens could be found such titillating attractions as Chrysanthemums, made in Paris shortly after the century's turn, and featuring that enduring Parisian import, the shapely female. Chrysanthemums ends in a stirring merry-go-round of beauty with Brigitte, Charmaine, Marianne, Fifi, Madeleine, and Irving. A good fairy waves winter into spring in this box office buffo of 1904. Another example of the early imaginative trick film from France. Highly successful European tours of the master American escape artist Harry Houdini inspired Slippery Jim, among the best of the fantastic films from France, and one still fondly remembered by old men who saw it as boys. One of Houdini's famous escapes was to be bound in a mail sack and flung to the bottom of the sea. Slippery Jim added a flourish of his own. The year was 1906. In wit and ingenuity, the new art of the motion picture had surely gone as far as it could go. A cameraman drove down San Francisco's busy Market Street in March of 1906, little dreaming that within a month, nearly all he photographed would be ashes. On April 6th, San Francisco was shaken by earthquake, then gutted by fire. Buildings were dynamited to stop the advancing flame. With surprising vitality, San Francisco was to rise from her ruins greater than before. Slowly at first, then with the speed of a tornado, the automobile revolution swept America. These were the joys of motoring as pictured by the auto manufacturers. And this was motoring as it really was. For in all of America in 1906, there were fewer than 300 miles of paved country roads. But the trusty Tin Lizzie could go anywhere, do anything. Well, almost anything. The automobile had come. America would never again be the same. In 1910, it was still a man's world. By 1914, film manufacturers, as they were then called, were mass-producing photoplays, shooting comedies and dramas side by side on big outdoor stages. Nickelodeons, like the one shown here, had sprung up by the thousands almost overnight. Inside, you might see such a hit of the day as Mack Sennett's A Submarine Pirate, starring graceful Sid Chaplin, brother of the already world-famous Charlie. Starting in 1916, Charlie Chaplin was to star in, write, and direct for the Mutual Company a series of short comedies which many critics believe remain, after 50 years, the funniest ever made. In The Floor Walker, store manager Eric Campbell prepares to abscond with the company funds. Downstairs, floor walker Charlie acts footloose in the shoe department. Lydia Pinkerton, the store detective, suspects Eric, and Eric suspects she suspects. One glance into Eric's satchel, and the jig is up. Easy now, Eric, mustn't tip your hand. By 1916, in his third year of filmmaking, Chaplin had achieved a global popularity unsurpassed to the present time. His short subjects were billed above features, and the greatest draw in show business was a simple stock poster bearing his full figure image and the words, "I'm here today." In the pawn shop, Eric Campbell, the portly, perfect villain, portrays a crook. Charlie is a shop assistant. In love umbrella to a couple of rooms, the pawn shop demonstrates Charlie's genius for extracting comedy from everything about him. Pretending to be in the market for diamonds, evil Eric is invited into the back room. Down at the heels, Albert Austin tries to pawn an ailing alarm clock. And from this ordinary situation arises one of the most celebrated of Chaplin sequences. In fleeting progression, Charlie is physician, jeweler, dentist, plumber, ribbon clerk, and surgeon. In 1917, the Holocaust, which had been raging for 3 years in Europe, engulfed America. President Woodrow Wilson's signing of the declaration of war was greeted by cheering crowds who looked upon the First World Conflict as the great adventure. Draftees and recruits lined up in hastily constructed camps for a training program which seemed to include haircuts reaped right to the root, and exercises which might have been designed by physical culturist Bernard McFadden. Soon, the first contingents of troops were beginning a journey that would carry them via a bridge of ships to France. World War I has been called the last of the gentlemen's wars, a time of parades and casualty lists, of high ideals and heartbreak, of slogans and slogging foot soldiers. Buy bonds. The cry was everywhere. Spirits soared to the blare of bands. In this fervent crusade to make the world safe for democracy, the celebrities of the nation spearheaded Liberty Loan drives. From Hollywood came America's sweetheart, Mary Pickford. The endless crowds that greeted Mary and other stars like dynamic Doug Fairbanks testified to the popularity of that young entertainment upstart, the motion picture. The best comedy of 1917 was Easy Street, in which Charlie Chaplin, as the little tramp, was inspired by the angelic mission worker Edna Purviance into making a fresh start. Easy Street, dominated by ruffian Eric Campbell, is using up the city's police force. Charlie answers the call. As late as the mid-20s, Chaplin considered Easy Street his finest film. Grabbing a pair of pants forgetfully left behind by the last policeman, Eric divides the loot. Everything for Eric. Entering Easy Street, the new arm of the law. Gas. Edna has seen it all. The words of this film's final subtitle expressed a suitable wartime sentiment. Love backed by force, forgiveness sweet. Bring hope and peace to Easy Street. Chaplin's incredible grace and agility were demonstrated at their peak in another comedy no movie fan of 1917 was likely to miss, The Rink. Eric flirts with Edna, who is insulted and flustered by his unwelcome attentions.